ain't gonna lie, I made a move, and he didn't push me away, so that was my reassurance. Okay.
Even though I denied her as my child, I'm still a human being.
What did you tell him, Ms. Pence?
I had told him that I had slept with the gentleman that had been staying with us.
Ms. Ware, you claim that after one night of passion with the defendant, you ended up pregnant, but he is now denying paternity of your 3-year-old son, Ayante. You opened your case to prove he is the father because you are tired of raising your son alone. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is what Mr. Wilson had to say.
The plaintiff is running out of potential fathers and is trying to pin her baby on you. You say you used a condom and there is no way you are Ayante's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's hear of the relationship first.
I was going to hair school at the time, and, I would see him on my way to hair school. We would hang out with each other, potluck, he cooked something, I cooked something, bring it over to his house, or he come over to my house, long talks, this is my gay best friend,
Oh, your gay best friend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you heard it right. Mr. Wilson was gay. So how did this friendship get complicated?
So he had came on over, we got to drinking, watching little movies or whatever, and I ain't gonna lie, I made a move, and he didn't push me away, so that was my reassurance. Okay, maybe he want this too.
So wait. So hold on, wait. Y'all done switched from the potluck to the potluck.
Yeah.
Miss Ware then explicitly talks about how she plotted to woo Mr. Wilson.
I made that move, and when I made that move, he didn't push me away,
And so you had been plotting on this all the time, but you were waiting for the time to make your move.
Yes, ma'am.
So you really had your eyes on your gay best friend. This is the guy you really wanted.
Yes, ma'am.
But how do we know he could be the father?
So, Mr. Wilson, we've now had accounts of 2 different men she was dating at the time.
Yes, Your Honor.
And they've both not been the father after DNA testing. Both of them. What do you think? You're saying you can't be the father, but she's had the DNA test with the 2 other men.
Yes, Your Honor.
And they've been determined to not be the child's biological father.
And finally, the results are out.
When it comes to 3-year-old Ayante Ware, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Wilson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not the father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Miss Ware had 4 men tested, all of whom came out negative. So there was a 5th one.
And why didn't you mention this person in your testimony?
Because he's deceased.
He's deceased.
Well, paternity court could still identify this person, even though he's passed. But it's all up to Miss Ware.
Mr. Patrick, you say 5 years ago you made a huge mistake by opening your doors to a stranger who needed a place to stay because that man betrayed you and slept with your girlfriend, Miss Pence. Today, you're here to prove that you didn't father Pence's fraternal twins, 4-year-olds Larry and Carrie, and the other man did. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what does Miss Pence have to say about the claims?
She just was talking in circles, basically.
I confessed, Your Honor, at that time.
What did you tell him, Miss Pence?
I had told him that I had slept with the gentleman that had been staying with us. It was just the one time. It never happened again after that. And he still seems to believe that it happened more than the one time, Your Honor.
But this other man left. Here's why.
I believe that they were starting to catch feelings for one another or whatever.
That's not true,
And
Mr. Patrick.
a little bit too close for comfort. I think that's why.
That's not true.
I think he was worried about me catching on to it.
Miss Pence then drafts out a timeline of events.
November 2nd, Your Honor, is the date that me and Mr. Patrick had sex. And then on August 7th is the date that the twins were born.
But Mr. Patrick was not convinced. This is why.
I slept with the other gentleman on October 29th, 4 days
So
later.
that is just a 5-day window.
It is, Your Honor,
Yes,
but
Your
I know for a fact that November 2nd is the date that I conceived.
But the doctors gave a window, not an exact date. And this is why Miss Pence had to take a lie detector test. And here's how that went.
During the last 10 years of your relationship with Mr. Patrick, have you had sexual contact with any other man other than the man whom you admitted to cheating with?
Yes, Your Honor.
You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
Now the next question.
Ms. Pence, you were asked, did you have sexual intercourse with the man whom you cheated on Mr. Patrick with more than once? You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
And now it's time for the results.
You are the father.
I told you that you was the father. I told you.
Mr. White, you claim to have physical proof your wife broke her vows, and as much as you love Savannah, you do not believe you're her biological father and are prepared to divorce your wife when the test proves your case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. White is brought to tears talking about this. Mrs. White reasons that
But I have like abandonment issues because I was adopted. So like if he's not showing me the love and affection that I need, and I mean, I'm not trying to like make excuses for myself because I admit what I've done is wrong.
even worse, their anniversary was in 2 days. Mr. White reveals that
until she admittedly told me when Savannah was 6 months old that there was a 50-50 chance that Savannah wasn't mine.
And how did you get to a place where you decide you're gonna tell him, Ms. White?
he manages to bring proof of this as well.
Ms. White says, my body's naked, wishing you was in this bed with me. The ex-boyfriend texts back, LOL, you are crazy, about to call you in a minute.
Judge Lauren is boggled at the texts. Mr. White makes a rebuttal when
Always with the
He's not there for
Always
me.
pivoting, you're trying to put it off on me. How you expect me to treat you the way you want to be treated when you're sitting here sexting other people and doing all this other stuff?
after this, he presents to the court.
This is what you found in her phone.
Yes, this is the gentleman that she went to his house on Valentine's Day.
Mr. White talks of his children.
So when she drinks, she has to have it thickened, or half of it will go into her lungs and she'll get pneumonia. Been there through that, been there through everything that she's had to go through. She's had more difficulties than my other children. I just love her. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have my kids.
The DNA tests are in, and
Mr. White, you are her father.
a marriage has been saved, and the poor children won't be orphaned.
Ms. McKinney, you are here to prove to your husband that he fathered your 11-month-old daughter, Amira. You testify that his paternity denial is tearing you apart. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is what the husband had to say.
You say there is no way you are Amira's biological father after finding a sex tape of your wife with another man. You now intend to prove he fathered Amira.
Miss McKinney even denied Mr. Brown from signing Amara's birth certificate and refused to explain why. Suspicious indeed. But they tried to draw similarities.
Because she started looking more and more like him. And then you had people inboxing her saying, oh, that's not your husband's baby.
Your Honor.
It doesn't look like
Your Honor.
him. So, and my family was saying that she looks like me because my deceased father that passed away, they said that Myra has my dad's head shape.
Miss McKinney is evasive of every question thrown at her, and it is clear that she is lying.
You just decided I'm gonna call and tell Mr. Fowler I'm pregnant?
Yes.
There's something you're not saying.
And the results are announced.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father.
And neither was the other guy. Looks like McKinney has some explanation to do.
Though you do admit to cheating on Mr. Jones with another man, you say you're unsure if you were already pregnant when you cheated.
A truly complicated case. Wonder how things will turn out. Miss Jones reveals that
So you thought they were in a relationship?
Yeah,
Because
it
when
became a
she and her children didn't have anywhere to go, you said they could come and stay with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And they did.
Yes.
yes, you heard it. Wonder what went wrong after. Miss Milan is cornered when
She want to be with him.
She wants to have him in her life. Is that true, Ms. Mylan?
No,
Why'd you
I
stop
didn't.
taking
I
birth
stopped.
control?
I was sick. It was just making me sick.
things seem pretty sus. Mr. Jones vividly explains the day he got the news as
She called, she said she was 3.5 weeks pregnant. I was like, by who? You know what I'm saying? She said it's a possibility, it's yours. I know that, you know what I'm saying? Then she was like, I had sex with my ex or whatever like that, so.
Jones was pretty lost after hearing this. Miss Jones is a true mother as
Found out she stopped taking the birth control. The first thing I done was I gave my son some condoms because she have 6 kids already and I know she's fertile. Use them.
and she definitely raised one hell of a son.
So you were there participating like the father. Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I told her
No,
not to.
I didn't sign anything because I wanted the DNA test first.
Despite all this, Milan is a mother of 7 boys. She claims that
And I do have 7 boys and all now. I always knew who my kid's father was.
You did sleep with both men during the window of conception.
Yes, I did.
the results are in.
You are not the father. I'm so sorry.
Yet another child has lost a good father figure.
Ms. Jackson, you say Mr. Figures was a smooth-talking Casanova who swept you off your feet and out of your clothes and then left you with a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim Mr. Figures disappeared 20 years ago, and now you want to prove that he is definitely your son, Daniil's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
The couple get into a fight right in front of their son.
Your Honor.
I don't know what's
This
going on.
man, till this day, is still
In my life.
in the picture.
Okay,
we
all
didn't
that's
have
good.
sex. It's just he's in the
all
picture.
that's
We're
good.
all in Job Corps.
All
and
that is
he
good,
knows
but
like
can I
I'm
say this?
pregnant.
Can I
and
say
that
this, man?
he's Mr.
Yeah.
Casanova.
Daniel is brought to tears while explaining his situation, and Judge Lauren consoles him by saying this.
You've never experienced having a father.
No.
So all you know is growing up without one. You can imagine what it would be like. You can watch your brothers, your
My
sisters.
friend.
The similarities between Daniel and Figures is irrefutable. It's now time for Miss Jackson to get all emotional.
Come on, look at that boy.
It's a side-by-side picture
Really?
of Daniil on the left and Mr. Figures on the right.
After all the emotional banter, Figures test negative, and Daniel is yet again fatherless.
You are not the father.
Oh my God.
20 years, huh? For this.
A brother and sister are out finding whether their parents are really their birth parents.
That it was possible your dad, Mr. Jacobs, is not your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Hammond tries to beat around the bush when confronted.
Listen, is there something that you need to tell us? Is there something that you need to tell me?
Maybe. I don't know. I
So-
don't know who's the father. I just don't know. I don't
Okay.
know.
After Judge Lauren tries to console Miss Razor after she breaks into tears.
I couldn't even sit here and pretend to understand what it feels like to be in your shoes and to be going through what you're going through right now. But what I can say is that it takes a strong woman to stand in a moment and be willing to accept the truth, whatever it may be.
Mr. Jacobs is not ready to leave Razor fatherless.
No.
My daughter right here.
No.
My baby right here.
No.
Later, Mr. Hunt is left devastated with the results.
Mr. Jacobs, you are not Hector's father.
Oh, you is scandalous.
A grandmother is trying to prove that her grandchild's father is not her daughter's current boyfriend.
Now, Ms. Cole, You dispute your mother's claims. You say you are positive that Mr. Boyce is your baby's father and say today's result of the paternity test will prove your mother wrong.
Already being a teenage mom, Ms. Coe's mother accuses her of this.
So that brings us to why we're here, because now you have a grandchild.
But it's not just one guy. See, that's what she's saying, but it's not just one guy. There was somebody else in the picture.
The boyfriend is called in as a witness, and this is what he has to say.
My mom, she passed away. And once I told her about it, you know what I'm saying, she just, oh, that's my...
Everybody, but you all alone. I am so sorry, but it's okay.
But that's when Judge Lauren makes a solid statement. She said,
And potentially just think about this in weeks and years to come, that families are more than just biological connections. They are love connections. Biology determines the father, but love determines who the daddy is. Ms. Johnson, you have brought your teenage son to court to get the results of a paternity test to prove that he is not the father of the defendant's son, Caden.
and here's the other side of the story.
Ms. Longshore, you state that you are positive Mr. Lee is your son's father, even though he claims to have been a virgin before you met and that he slept with you only one time.
Yes.
You are hoping today's results will finally put an end to your search for your son's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
But then came the most pressing question.
Ms. Johnson, how can you be so certain that your son's not the father?
I wasn't around. This happened when I was at work, supposedly. So I don't know what's going on. And then on top of that, there was another guy tested.
But this is Lay's mother's concern.
Because I want him to finish college. I want him to go. I want him to achieve his dreams. I never got to achieve mine, okay? And I want that for him. And
Things are not on Longshore's side when Miss Lay claims something big.
So you two weren't even dating, you were saying you were just friends?
Yes. And that's what I thought.
Did you want to be more than a friend?
I did like him, and he needs to stop acting like he didn't like me back, because you was telling everybody at school that you liked me.
Despite this dispute, Lay has done his due diligence with the child and played his part well.
Have you paid for anything as it relates to the child? Have
Yes,
you
John, I
given
sent her money. I sent her what I could while I was still working.
So I need to ask you this, Mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Did he send it or did you send it for him?
I made him send it because I didn't have sex with her. He did.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
It looks like they both did have a part. And then time for the results.
As it pertains to 18-month-old Caden Longshore. Mr. Lee, it is without question, you are Caden's.
I told you! Told you! I ain't got nothing left to say. Told you!
And then came the big reunion.
Here it comes.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, little man.
Good day, everyone. Ms. Hayslip, you are seeking a DNA test to prove that Mr. Hayslip, the defendant, is your biological father.
But Mr. Hayslip did something. He shouldn't have done this.
Up until that point, you all going to the same school and don't know
Yes,
you're
Your Honor.
potentially sisters?
Yes. For a long time, they rode the same school bus and didn't even know it.
Although Mr. Hayslip denied her and even sent her to foster care, he had something to say.
Even though I denied her as my child, I'm still a human being. I wouldn't check on her well-being. on where they would not tell me where she was being placed. I drove 60 miles.
You drove 60 miles. You went to find her?
Twice.
Twice.
Find her.
To find her.
Yep.
And when you got there, they would just look at you and say, we don't know where she is?
They railroaded me. All they would tell me is she was somewhere near Grand Rapids.
But then he makes a wrong call.
The point that I'm making with that is her mother's side of the family. I don't want to associate it with my last name at all.
But that's
But
not
you're
Celeste's
angry
fault.
with her mother. Why are you taking out
I'm
the
still
anger
angry
you
with her
feel
for her
mother on her?
How can you be angry with me? You have nothing to do with me.
And finally, this is how he was put in his place.
You are her father.
Someone's not happy, but the truth is the truth.